Is the camera rolling? Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and as you can tell by the title, today we are going to be doing my wash and go routine. Now, I have a mix of hair texture. I have 3C and 4A mainly. I have gone through many trials and tribulations in terms of finding products that work for me, because in addition to having a mixture of curl textures, I also have low porosity hair, and in simple terms it just means that it's a little bit harder for water to penetrate my hair and lock that moisture in. So there's a few steps within my routine that kind of make the process easier in terms of retaining moisture and making sure it stays locked in. But enough chit chat, let's get into the routine, and then I'll also share some of my favorite tips for my wash and go routine. This is kind of tip number one. Always start with a conditioner for your wash and go routine. And you're probably like, Leah, that's a really broad statement to make. Give us more context. I will. So what I mean by this is that literally before you even get started with washing your hair, like anything, before you get started with anything, what you need to do is you need to sit down, you need to section your hair, spray with water, put conditioner in, and then brush through. If you have low porosity hair, it really just helps your hair in the shower to stay detangled, and then thus makes the process easier when you start applying product. The type of condition doesn't really matter, it's really a personal preference. I personally use the Texture ID conditioner. It's gonna pop up somewhere on this screen. I guess that's another tip number two. A lot of people do know this, but for those that do not, always make sure that when you are brushing in these sections, you are starting from the ends and working your way up. Because of the way that curls and coils work, if you start brushing from the top up, you're just going to cause more knots to form as you're trying to brush down, so you need to brush in reverse. Now after this is when you're going to want to get into the shower and you're going to want to start the washing process. Again, with low porosity hair and the product buildup being more likely, I like to go in with a clarifying shampoo. Personally, the one that I'm really loving right now is by Soapbox, and it is their tea tree clarifying shampoo. Now for one, tea tree, and I think there's eucalyptus in there. The way that like literally just opens up your nose, is like a 2-in-1. So if you're feeling a little sick, go ahead and use that. Don't get the air flowing. But all jokes aside, it really does a great job at, again, taking that product buildup, bringing it down completely, outstripping your hair. Since using this, I've never noticed any dryness in between rinsing the shampoo out and putting the conditioner in, which I have experienced with a few different shampoos. So that is definitely something that I look out for when or if I transition to new products based on how my hair is feeling. So that kind of leads into tip number 3, and it's being very intentional with the way in which you shampoo. Again, a lot of the tips and tricks that we utilize when styling our curly hair is just the simple fact of that methods that are used for straighter or looser curled hair simply does not work, and we have to make sure that we're doing methods that work best for us and our hair. So when you're shampooing, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to apply to the roots, start at the roots. You're also going to want to section, shampoo in sections to make sure each strand of hair is being coated with shampoo. If you have thicker hair, this is definitely important because it can be very easy to think you're getting everything and then the middle of your head doesn't see a drop of shampoo. So sectioning is really important as well. And then what you're going to want to do is after you get the roots cleansed, you're going to want to take a small piece and you're going to want to work that shampoo down, and then do that all the way up. You're going to want to work that shampoo down a strip, take a new strand of hair, work that down, new strand of hair. And that's basically just to make sure that each strand is being coated with shampoo. After you rinse that out, you're going to want to go in with a deep conditioner. I use a deep conditioner every week. I don't do it like, oh, again, this is based on your hair and you know your scalp better than I do. So take this with a grain of salt. I've noticed that my hair lacks moisture, and again, this goes into the low porosity and just me having naturally dry hair as well. And then in addition, I've bleached it before and then I dyed it back to black, I've dyed it red, a whole shebang. So using a deep conditioner every time I wash my hair rather than saving it for a special occasion or for every month or whatever the case may be, that's what works for me. That's what keeps my hair moisturized. So take from that what you will. I don't really have a deep conditioner that I like very strictly use. Kind of have like rotating favorites, and it just depends on one, how I'm feeling, and two, what container is not empty, like if I'm just being so for real. So I'd say right now though, like at the top, it's gonna be the Function of Beauty Coils Deep Conditioner, as well as TGIN's deep conditioner, more specifically the honey mask, or you can do, I believe it's the deep repair, the deep hydration, but again, that'll be on the screen. All those are great options, provide great moisture, have great slip when detangling the hair and separating, overall great stuff. Deep conditioning is pretty easy, section, coat, brush through, and then Oh, I guess before we move into styling products, that brings me to tip number 4, being intentional with the brushes that you use. In the shower, I like to use a brush like this. And I've just noticed that it's a lot easier to work through my entire head when it's saturated with products and things of that nature. Alrighty, now let's get into the styling products. So tip number 5, 6, I don't know. If schedule permits and if you can, wash your hair and style your hair back to back. Don't wash your hair, let it sit, do other things, and then try to go back and do it. The reason why I say this is because the water that is going to be on your head after the shower is going to be very useful when you go and you do your wash and go, you do your style. This is because when you do your styling and you start sectioning your hair and you realize you're gonna have to spray every single section with water to get that moisture back in, then start in with the products. It's a lot easier and better for your hair if you do that immediately after the shower while your hair is still wet, rather than to let your hair dry down and then try to go and have your hair be saturated like it was from the shower. That's just not gonna happen. So if you can, I would say go straight from the shower to styling. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. I just believe that you're going to see better results if you do those back to back. Now into styling. I try to stick to a 3 product rule. I try not to use more than 3 products in my hair when doing my styling during my wash and goes. This is, again, product, as you can tell, product buildup and low porosity. Those are like the 2 big vocabulary words when it comes to dealing with my hair and seeing what works best. Limiting it to 3 products helps to minimize unnecessary product buildup. I already know product buildup is going to happen because of my hair. Might as well keep it at a minimum. Like literally just that. And then as well, less money to spend. Literally that. Why not save some money while you can? So you're out of the shower, hair is wet, hair is sectioned, you're ready to go. So what you're gonna wanna do is go in with the Texture ID Curl Primer. I go in with that with a sizable amount, put it on the section of my hair, then I start to detangle once again with the paddle brush. And I just work that product through. So not only does it detangle, but it also helps to define the hair. It just allows you to work the product in a little bit better. And then literally from there, all you're going to do is seal with the gel. There are 2 gels that are kind of like at my, two gels that I really like. One is going to be the Texture ID, I believe it's technically the curling cream, but it's a gel. I think it's curling cream, I don't know. Again, product will be on the screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is good for when you want defined curls, but if you don't want a super strong hold over time, because it will give definition, but because it is a softer gel, you won't have the crunch, but you also won't have a hard hold on the gel for a long period of time. Now, if you're someone who doesn't care about crunchiness, you're okay with, you know, going in with some oil on days 2, 3, X, Y, and Z, and kind of separating the curls, giving them some moisture back and things of that nature, then I would go in with the wet line gel. There's no difference in application between the 2 gels. I would apply them just the same. It's really just based on the look that you're going for. But those 2 are kind of like my very trusted gels to go with. But I mean, yeah. And then after that, I just let it air dry. That's just what I like to do. I just think I haven't perfected my diffusing routine. Like, I just don't think my technique is perfect. It doesn't give me the results I like. So I try to stay away from that and would rather just instead wash my hair and style it in the morning and then let it air dry throughout the day, especially if I know that I have work or I have to go out and run errands, something that will allow the air to kind of dry it rather than just sitting around and hoping for it to dry. I will say, if you have a good diffuser routine, you know your perfect settings, you know your perfect attachments, all of that, I would definitely recommend to do diffusing. It's just, we just don't get along just yet, but we're working on it. On days in which I want to refresh my hair, I go in with the Texture ID Curl Refreshing Spray, and then when I want to go in and start separating the curls, fluffing the curls, seeing some more volume while minimizing frizz, I'm going to go in with the oil. I personally use the Olaplex oil. I found that it works really well, so I kind of just, you know, I go in and I fluff until I get a shape that looks like this. I will say that when sleeping, it can, you know, that pineapple will hold a shape for a little bit. So if your hair is not falling perfectly when you set it in the morning, that's completely okay. Give it a little bit and it'll fall. That is kind of just a walkthrough of my wash and go routine and the products products that I use and just some tips and tricks for someone who may have a similar curl pattern as me or has low porosity hair. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Will you be my leading lady? I wanna go try and get a little maybe. In the meantime,